Hi crafters, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and I have a lightning fast stenciled winter card to share with you. Now here is an older stencil. It's called a Rough Edge Circlezz, and it's spelled kind of whimsy and fun, but this is an older stencil from A Colorful Life Designs. Here's a photo of the first finished card, but do stick around. I will show you a bonus card using the same stencil but getting a completely different look. So here I'm just laying down the stencil on my Wendy Vecchi station tool, and I'm holding it down with the magnets on top of a card base. Now you can work on a panel if you prefer, but I like to save bulk and save product, so I'm working directly on a card base. And I have my blending brushes from the Rabbit Hole Designs, and I have a few different cool colors from Catherine Pooler. Now I tend to collect the mini ink pads and the re-inkers, which I've just recently re-inked, so you can see that's why they're quite juicy and saturated. But I'm just going to work with these three colors and move them all around the front of the card base. So I'm kind of doing three of each color, just kind of nestling them next to each other, but all three of these colors will play nicely together, so they aren't going to be opposite on the color wheel or anything like that and create any muddy sort of colors. So if you're not sure what sort of colors to use on your card, then think in terms of the color wheel and stick with colors maybe that are right next to each other if you're worried about kind of creating a brown color. So these three colors work beautifully together. I'm just going to remove the magnets and the stencil, and you can see the basic background design ready to go. Now these dies are actually from another small woman-owned business called LDRS Creative. They're in Michigan, and I love their products. So I'm basically going to use some residual ink from my blending brush just to kind of create a perfect color match for the inner portion of this die. So I'm going to use the word portion of the die and use some low-tack mint tape to hold that down. And then for the shadow layer, I'm just going to use some white cardstock, and that's going to help it really stand off the busy background that I just stenciled. Now I'm going to pop these out and remove the mint tape, and be careful not to tear it here. You can see it really pressed it down through my die cutting machine, but it does come off easily. You just gotta take your time as to not tear it. And then I'm gonna pop out the word die. Now this is very delicate, but it did die cut just fine. If you're worried at all or having any trouble, you can absolutely use a metal shim. I didn't actually use one in this case, and it came through fine, but I do have another die cut with really I don't know, delicate features on it like this, and I find that a metal shim really helps it kind of pop out easier. So use whatever you have, whatever sandwich you need for your die cutting machine, but I'm just using this little pokey tool just to get out the other little tiny bits, and then I'm going to attach this to the actual shadow layer with these Artist Tack micro dots. This is my solution that I discovered kind of recently, and it's a game changer for me because I get really frustrated using liquid glue. I can't stand when it oozes out the side. So these micro dots really help me out when it comes to these delicate little word dies, which I use often with my card making. So basically you just press it down and it puts all these little micro dots of glue all over the back, and you can keep reusing these sheets. You just kind of move them around to different areas, and then you just press it down and then get, you know, nice even coverage of glue all over the back. And when you turn it in the light, you can see if you didn't get if you kind of used a space that was already too used up on your panel, you just kind of lay it down again and add some more glue to it. But this is such a game changer for me in working with this type of product, because liquid glue just, oh, it's so frustrating for me. So I'm very excited to have something like this in my crafty stash, and I will link it in the video description box below with all the other products that I used. Now here I'm going to pop up the sentiment with a piece of foam tape. This foam tape I get from scrapbook.com. It's an inch wide, I believe. It's extremely sticky, but I do like using this. I kind of switched to this from the Big Mama 3M roll at some point, and I think I prefer this actually. So I'll link that as well below, but I'm just going to lay this down directly on this card base. So there is some dimension obviously from popping up this sentiment, but overall it's very low profile. It's going to be easy to ship. And this is a sentiment strip and a shadow layer. These are also from LDRS Creative, and these are super cool time-saving things to have in your stash. Basically you buy this one stamp for whatever theme. These are Christmas themed or holiday themed. and it has, I don't know, maybe like 10 different sentiments or something like that. And then you stamp it in one pass, and then there's a coordinating die that works with all of the stamps like this in the shop, and then it cuts them out in one pass. And then recently in the shop they added this awesome shadow layer, so you can kind of kick it up a notch and add that pretty colored shadow layer behind your die cut. And it does those perfect little fishtail die cuts, which I don't know about you, but I cannot cut them that well when I try and do them manually. So I'm going to put that on the inside of the card, just reinforcing the crease, and then I'm going to add a little bit of blingage. So get another small woman-owned business here. It's a company called Doodles Paper Playground. I believe they're called Sparkle Blend Shop on Etsy, but she has all these amazing sparkle blends, which are great for shakers, but also just for, you know, embellies on the front of your card. And I have this winter one here. I think it's called, I don't know if this is Minter is Coming or Snow Pals. I don't remember which one this is. Oh, I think it's Snow Pals. But basically there's all these really pretty random variety of snowflakes, and I thought that would be perfect to go with this card. So obviously it's not a snowflake stencil that I'm using, it's kind of whimsy and different, but I do have the Let It Snow sentiment, so I'm just kind of tying it in with these embellies and putting little snowflakes all around the sentiment that's popped up. So I am working in odd numbers. I have 3 on the bottom, 2 on the top, just because I find odd numbers more visually appealing. And I'm using some liquid glue. In this case, liquid glue is okay. It's my friend. And this jewel picker, and I'm just laying these down around the front of the card just to give it a little something extra and a little bit of shine. And I'm kind of picking through this mix. It's so cool when you get these sparkle blends, because she'll put these little, I don't know, clay cuties in there. Like I think there's snowmen in this one, but they're these little polymer clay bits, and they're so cute and obviously perfect for shaker cards and just add so much interest to your design. Now I decided I want to step it up a little bit more, and I use this corner chomper. There's a 1/4 inch side and a 1/2 inch side, so I'm just using the 1/2 inch. Now thanks for sticking around. Here is the bonus card. So a very different look. This is a different die cut that I got from LDRS Creative. It says Christmas Wishes, same thing, it comes with a shadow layer. And I did just use some actual residual ink from my blending brushes just to kind of clean off my brushes and create this cool rainbow design for my card. And I have it matted on a black layer of cardstock just to kind of tie in the black from the sentiment. And I used another sentiment on the inside of the card. So 2 super easy, quick winter or Christmas holiday type of cards using the stencil. So I hope you found this helpful and it gives you some ideas to get out there and craft. And be sure to check out the shop. If you do, use my coupon AmyFan10 and save on your complete order. So thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.